Hello, my beautiful Virgo friends, and welcome to your horoscope for November of 2023. We're Virgo this month. We've got Saturn coming direct in the energy of Pisces. We are going to welcome in Sagittarius season and also welcome Mercury into its pre-retrograde shadow time, which is important news to you as Mercury is your ruling planet. So there are some decisions, but there's also some information that I think you get this month, and it comes through the lens of intuition, Virgo. But this is not actually the time to make a big decision and do something with it just yet. So it's kind of you're holding your cards a little bit this month. Let's jump in here and talk about what the month has to offer. Okay, Virgo. Right here at the beginning of the month on the 4th, we've got Saturn coming direct in the energy of Pisces, which means it is lighting up your 7th house space, okay? Now, Saturn moved into the energy of Pisces in March of 2023. So go right back there. What was starting to happen for you around your relationships? Because at that time, as Saturn moved in, it was like, hold on, okay, I need to engage a level of mastery. Right? I need to make a commitment and come to the next level in some way, shape, or form. I'm ready to take on my next level of commitment. And I'm also ready to take on my next level of adventure, because with that commitment does come some sense of adventure, because it's like, wow, I am really going to learn something in here. But it does call for an abundance. I mean, an abundance of self-discipline to get involved here, right? So whatever that actually was for you at that particular time, you've been working on this in your relationship zone. Now, the thing I do like about it is that as Saturn came in here, and certainly as Saturn went retrograde on June 17th, again, go back to that date and time and things that were starting to happen in your relationships. When Saturn went retrograde, it went retrograde in a sextile to Jupiter, which means that you were ready. You were likely ready to take the new adventure. And you knew that whatever you were going to commit to and take on at that time was likely going to be successful. So I'm really curious for you around your relationships, whether that be romantic relationships, relationships with you and whatever you call a higher power, relationships with a business or a company, right? Conscious, chosen, one-on-one relationships that you will absolutely learn from, because you cannot go any further without that relationship. So let me know what that has been for you, but just know that these relationships have gotten a dose of reality and a dose of understanding that there is a certain amount of discipline that has to happen for the relationship to be successful. Okay, now you've got Saturn direct, and we're ready to rock and roll and to begin to continue. I don't want to say begin, to continue to live this out, to bring that discipline to the table, to bring it to an actual reality and make the moves that you want to make going forward. Now on November 8th, we've got Venus entering into the energy of Libra. Now this is a comfortable position for Venus being here, as it is the ruling planet of Libra, and we'll have it in this position all the way until December 4th. Now this is Venus also moving into your 2nd house, where Venus is perfectly comfortable, because Venus wants to attract in. It's an attracting energy. Venus doesn't actually want to be used to go out and get things. It's attracting in. So this is a phenomenal time for you in your financial zone. So thinking about where the money that you have, the assets that are coming in, do you have passive streams of income? What is the relationship, Libra, to money that you have? How do you make money? What are your creative skills and talents that you take out in the world and you make money with? I would love it if you are some kind of artist or something like that. Put your artwork out. This particular cycle is so good for attracting in relationships where it's mutually beneficial. Somebody sees your art and they like the particular slant that you have and they want to buy it. Or you're doing a garage sale, you're doing your fall cleaning and you're putting things out there and you're like, please just take it. And people are like, oh my God, so you're willing to offer them a deal. Whatever it is, this is really a prosperous time as long as you're using it in terms of partnerships and letting it be mutually beneficial, okay? For those of you who've been waiting for a promotion or wanting to ask for a promotion, this is a good time to do that as well. Now, when we get to November 10th, we've got Mercury moving into the vibration of Sagittarius. So now we're taking Mercury, our planet, that when Mercury moves in direct motion, it brings new information. So it's bringing new information, but in the style of Sagittarius. So now it's not this deep thinking of Scorpio and like what's at the root and what am I passionate about, this deep motivation. Now it's like, okay, I know what I'm passionate about and I want to make a plan to go towards that thing. What's my big picture, right? I want to have this in my life because now I can define it. But the other thing that Mercury in Sagittarius is going to do to work with all the way until December 1st is ask you some philosophical questions, right? It's going to say, okay, well, you say that you want this, but what's your level of faith that you have to bring it into your life? Now, this transit is lighting up your fourth house space. So home, family, real estate, property, in your home life, in your domestic bliss. What is happening over here where you need to keep it a little light, you need to keep it a little easy, but you need to make a plan to move towards the big picture. This is a very optimistic transit typically, okay? So here's the other thing I was really thinking of, because the Sun and Mars will also move into Sagittarius a little bit later in the month, is that this is a great time, especially after the 22nd of the month, right? Well, I really think even after the 11th of the month, okay? For you to put out a very generous invite to get to know people that maybe you didn't know. Maybe they're of a different culture, or maybe if that's not accessible to you, you're bringing a different culture's food into your home, or you're welcoming in different philosophies. You know, maybe you found out that the voice and the philosophies of this religion or this teacher or this practice don't work for you, and you want to increase your faith, but you're also looking to hear some things in a different way. So the new knowledge can come to you from new truths, for sure. New truths about your house, about your home, about your parents, about your family, about your roots. So give this some time to explore it, for sure. And it's funny because I do think whatever your November holiday or gathering situation looks like, depending on where you are, I feel like this transit of Sagittarius season is going to bring new people to you who are like maybe even coworkers, and you're like, I didn't actually know that about you, and now you're learning these different truths in ways that are very easy. So let me know in the comment section down below, Virgo, if that's you. Okay. All right. On November 13th, we've got a new moon happening in the energy of Scorpio at 20 degrees. This moon is in a conjunction with Mars. It opposes Uranus. So there is some opposition. There's push here because Mars wants to go. Mars wants to do a little something. And Mars in Scorpio at this time is still very comfortable as it's one of the ruling planets. Pluto, the other ruling planet, is out of retrograde. So there is a push, there is a drive happening here. But the thing is this lights up your third house space, Virgo, okay? Now you have access, being ruled by Mercury, to word and thought magic is what I like to call it. Okay, so you do have access to this. So the first thing I'm thinking of is, because this is a new moon and you've got a little bit of go energy, plant your seeds of intention for where you are willing to commit to new actions to maybe put out that blog, put out that podcast, put out that book, because the Uranian influence here, which creates this opposition. It's like, I have to, in order to do this, I have to rebel. And the rebellion doesn't have to be against the man, right? Whatever that is for you. But sometimes the rebellion is an inner rebellion where you have to get out of the way and let yourself be known and be seen in a very different way in order to get your message out there. So this particular new moon, I think, is calling in a real need for you to have some major shifts in the way that you're communicating and your thought process and your willingness to put information out there. But this is also the time where I want to tell you, if you're not quite ready yet, this particular moon is actually okay. If you're like, yep, I'm going to be studying this behind the scenes, but I'm not willing to share that information with people just yet, or I feel like this thing is missing in my life and I need time to explore it. If that comes from a place for you of your intuition, tap into your intuition, Virgo. Tap into that psychic sense and get the download. What's happening? What's coming through for you? Maybe what's showing up in symbols or your dreams or just in this deep emotional place, right? And let the intuition guide you. It doesn't mean that you need to make huge decisions with it just yet. Over this next 2 to 4 weeks, the information that you get from your intuition will make itself known, okay? Because spirit is never going to change the tune, never going to change the story. So if it's just an emotion, that will pass. But if it is genuine intuition, you can grab it and act on it in a few weeks when you feel ready, right? You've detoxed the junk out of the story and now you're like, purely, this is what I'm working on, okay? Let me know what that is for you and how long it takes for you to be ready to do that. But other just practical things, if you wanted to study, you want to sell your house, you want to sell your car, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, this would be the time to be making those decisions. Contracts are good now until November 25th, where we'll come into that mercurial slowdown. Okay, on the 22nd, we see the sun entering into Sagittarius. The 24th brings Mars into the energy of Sagittarius. So our willingness to do things, we're motivated to be a little bit lighter, a little bit easier. We want to expand our experiences. You want to expand your table of life and welcome in more philosophies, more faiths, more cultures, maybe even different colors into your own home. This is an absolutely beautiful time for that. And again, if this is a holiday season for you that you're celebrating, I would tell you, Virgo, you're naturally of service. So if you can do something in this season to give or to be charitable, maybe even, because we need the influence of some kind of faith or philosophy, is there a group or an organization in your community that you didn't even know was out there that could use a little bit of support at the holidays? This sorts of giving for you, I think, will actually really fill your personal life cup, okay? Now, on the 25th, we see Mercury, your ruling planet, head into the shadow time, pre-retrograde shadow time. So it's packing its bags, getting ready to go on vacation. And it's going to be at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. And we will watch this all the way through December 13th, where Mercury will actually take that retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn. Okay, so 22 degrees of Sagittarius, 8 degrees of Capricorn is where we're watching the story unfold all the way until January 20th in your chart. So this is going to be this dance happening for you, where you kind of need to, first of all, grab your chart and just consider between your fourth house, your fifth house, what's happening, what's the dance that is going on here between domestic things and things with your children. Like, what is happening for you here that new decisions, probably based out of your intuition, will need to be made, okay? To close out this month, we've got a full moon happening at 4 degrees of Gemini, fellow mercurial ruled sign. So you both do Mercury in a very different way, but it's all word and pattern magic. Now, this moon is going to be lighting up your 10th house space. The full moon asks us to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment. And this particular moon is, opposing Mars and the sun over in Sagittarius and then squaring to Saturn. And I think that tells a really important story, I think, okay? So first of all, what I want to tell you is that you may be in this position where, Virgo, I don't know if you're writing, I don't know if you're speaking, I don't know what you're doing, but this rebellion kind of for you to come out and do something is you may be saying things, and this may be the beginning of your journey where you're saying things that in some vein seem controversial, right? But you're willing and ready to start talking about this, and it's kind of cool. Now, this doesn't just mean, I would highly suggest at your holiday festivities, if you're doing that, if it can be avoided, to bring up topics that are sensitive in nature, I would avoid that, right? You're trying to have a little bit of domestic bliss. But if this is at work where, Virgo, you've been the person who's been doing the hustle for a very long time and you're like, I have some ideas and I'd like to speak up about it, this may be the time that it's like, yeah, okay, the limelight, the spotlight is on you, and you're able to speak up about it, or you see a gap, whether it be in the career at work with your actual boss or in your own company, or even in your family or in your community. And then there's this opportunity for you to step up and be of assistance to someone. Okay. So it can be a rebellion that looks like that as well, where you're just stepping up and out. So for some of you, as well, I do think that this particular full moon is kind of looking you in your eyes and being like, okay, where do you have to get serious? Because that square to Saturn is like, no, stop talking about it. We have to be about it. We have to be about it, right? So where is that this moon looking at you and saying, okay, in your career, we have to go ahead and take on this responsibility and step up and move forward. But the influence of Mars and Sun in Sagittarius, I think, is very helpful for you here, because it helps you remember that not everybody is seeing everything from yours or the same perspective. So as you're stepping up to take responsibility, come out with how you communicate, present something differently, you have the opportunity to be a bit more open-minded and faithful and trusting in the philosophies of those that are outside of yourself. So it's a really interesting month. I'm curious as to what message you're going to be producing, promoting, and putting out there, and exactly how you're going to get that done. Make sure you let me know in the comment section down below, beautiful Virgos. And again, if you are doing something where you're gathering with a group of people, especially after the 22nd, if you can avoid the direct combat of sensitive subjects, when people are trying to gather and have a good time, it would be best. But in the global, bigger world, if you're taking on a conception or an idea that is maybe uncommon for you or in your circle, that would be the right lens to do that. All right, Virgos, let me know how the month goes in the comment section down below. I love you. Have a great month.